From JBS Studios in Greater New York, this is the JBS News Update with Teisha Bader.
I'm Teisha Bader with the JBS News Update for Monday, November the 25th, 2024. We open with unconfirmed reports that a truce could be within reach between Israel and terror group Hezbollah, with Hebrew media saying Israel's security cabinet is scheduled to meet tomorrow, Tuesday, about a potential agreement. Again, this has not been confirmed. The reports follow yet another weekend of incessant rocket fire and drones launched at Israel, sending millions of Israelis to shelter across northern and central Israel. Several light injuries and one serious injury was reported. Lieutenant Colonel Nadav Shoshani said yesterday approximately 240 projectiles were fired at Israeli civilians. Rockets caused heavy damage, including to homes in the city of Petah Tikva, Shoshani noted, where there was a direct hit on a neighborhood, leaving houses in flames and ruins. Rockets also made impact in the agricultural community of Renatia, causing major damage to one home there. Shoshani saying no country would tolerate this aggression. The IDF will continue to defend our civilians and respond to these attacks. The rocket attacks continued today, as did the IDF's response, hitting a number of Hezbollah targets this weekend and into today, including military headquarters of Hezbollah in Beirut. Fighting also continued today between the IDF and terror group Hamas in Gaza, Israeli troops eliminating terrorists and terror infrastructure. And a rocket was fired from Gaza at a Gaza border community in southern Israel today. It fell in an open area. We turn now to the news this weekend of the murder of Rabbi Tzvi Kogan, a Chabad Lubavitch emissary to the United Arab Emirates. Chabad wrote Kogan was abducted on Thursday afternoon, it's said, by Islamic terrorists in Dubai, in a horrific crime that has shaken the Jewish community of the UAE and around the world, as well as people of goodwill everywhere. Kogan was found murdered early Sunday morning in the Emirates. He was 28 years old and leaves behind his wife, Rivki. Chabad Educational Chair Rabbi Yehuda Krinsky saying the worldwide Chabad community and the international community at large are shocked, grieving, and outraged. Kogan was born in Jerusalem. He served in the IDF and in 2020 joined the team of rabbis at Chabad of the UAE. A joint statement from Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's office and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs called the murder an abhorrent act of anti-Semitic terrorism, saying the state of Israel will use all means and will deal with the criminals responsible for his death to the fullest extent of the law. The UAE announced today that it arrested 3 male suspects in the murder, all Uzbek nationals. The White House strongly condemned the murder, saying this was a horrific crime against all those who stand for peace, tolerance, and coexistence. It was an assault as well on the UAE and its rejection of violent extremism across the board. The United States is working in close coordination, it wrote, with Israeli and UAE authorities, and we have offered all appropriate forms of support. Those who carried out this crime and anyone supporting them must be held fully accountable. Rabbi Kogan's remains arrived in Israel today, and he was laid to rest at the Mount of Olives in Jerusalem. Turning now to Canada, where a violent anti-Israel and anti-NATO demonstration took place in the streets of Montreal Friday night, ahead of NATO's annual summit. Protesters, many of them masked, were seen throwing flares and smashing windows of businesses. Several cars were set on fire, and a group of protesters at one point reportedly burned an effigy of Prime Minister Netanyahu. Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau said what we saw on the streets of Montreal was appalling. Acts of anti-Semitism, intimidation, and violence must be condemned wherever we see them. There must be consequences and rioters held accountable. The Center for Israel and Jewish Affairs in Canada said the anti-Semitic riots in Montreal were a terrifying display of violence, hate, and anarchy. Fires were lit, businesses vandalized, and Jewish Canadians once again felt unsafe in their own country. Our political leaders need to stop excusing extremism. Police must enforce the law, and all Canadians must take anti-Semitism seriously now. Friday's riots followed another anti-Israel protest on Thursday, where a participant was filmed saying, "Final solution is coming your way," and making the Nazi salute. She was later identified as the owner of 2 franchises of Second Cup, a Canadian coffee chain located at Montreal's Jewish General Hospital. And that company said in a statement that it is closing those locations and terminating the owner's contract, saying Second Cup has zero tolerance for hate speech. Well, today is International Day for the Elimination of Violence Against Women, being marked around the world, and with it, an urgent reminder from Israel and the Jewish world not to forget about the Israeli women and all the 101 hostages still being held captive by terror group Hamas in Gaza now for 416 days. Israel's official X Twitter writing on October the 7th, Hamas kidnapped, murdered, and sexually assaulted hundreds of Israeli women. 13 Israeli women are still being held hostage by Hamas in Gaza, urging the world, don't look away. David Saranga of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs shared images screened in Times Square of the Israeli women, writing Daniela, Judy, Agam, Liri, Karina, Naama, Romi, Shiri, Emily, Inbar, Ofra, Doron, and Arbel. Let us stand against the atrocities and the sexual violence committed, speak out, and demand their release. And the IDF shared a message from some of its female fighters with their vow.
We will keep fighting for them, for us, for every Israeli woman to live freely.
Fight for women, fight with us.
Taking a look now at our programming for tonight on JBS for Monday, November the 25th at 7 o'clock. FIDF CEO Steve Weil is joined in conversation by Tom Reuveny, Israeli Olympic gold medalist and IDF Reservist. At 7:30, David Harris speaks with Bernard-Henri Lévy. At 8, Abigail Pogrebin speaks with Rabbi Yitz Greenberg about his new book, The Triumph of Life. At 9, Tal Keinan is on L'chaim. At 10, it's Good Week Israel, which is also coming up next. At 10:30, an encore of the news. And that's the JBS News Update for Monday, November the 25th, 2024. I'm Teisha Bader. Am Yisrael Chai.